This is Nearly Offshore Gaming, bringing you an episode of Grand Tactician Civil War, 1861 to 1865. This is our Confederate playthrough. It is taken from a Twitch livestream. I hope you enjoy it, and please like and subscribe. Leave me a comment so that I can continue to improve the content. Let's get into the episode. Taken up enough time, let's go ahead and fly through these first couple months. We have America divided. President Buchanan unable to solve the crisis. Jefferson Davis to lead the Confederacy, unelected at this point. Texas votes 3-1 to secede. General Twiggs surrenders U.S. armaments. 44 guns and 20 bases in the Department of Texas. So that's going to all of this. Comanche land, lots of Indian territory out there. All right, Jefferson Davis is inaugurated president for 6 years. One term, 6 years for the Confederacy. The Confederacy is seizing U.S. property, organizing the state militias, and we are forming an army. Also, we have issued war bonds. So that's our first 25 million bonds. That puts us at 35 million already borrowed, and we aren't even a country yet. Loyalties torn in Missouri. Secessionist Minutemen mustered. Missouri volunteer militia formed. Governor Jackson preparing for a siege for secession. He's about to get a siege. Unconditional Union Party formed. So Missouri definitely divided loyalties. Looks like 46% support us. Kentucky vows to remain neutral. Governor McGoffin, a Southern sympathizer. Secession gaining support. Unionists rallying supporters. Neutrality not realistic if war erupts. Yeah, neutrality definitely was not realistic for Kentucky, and it was violated nearly immediately once somebody actually had the military to do so. But 40% support in Kentucky. Fort Sumter situation deteriorates. Pierre Gustave Touton de Beauregard takes command. The fort garrison low on supplies. More siege artillery moved to Charleston. Fort Pickens holding on. All right, let's take a look at, once again, Texas joins the Confederacy. New territories organized. The maps are updated. Borders have moved, fulfilling the manifest destiny. All right, so we've got this little fort sitting out here in the Charleston Harbor, just waiting for us to fire on them. All right, Lincoln inaugurated the 16th president of the U.S., a new cabinet to handle crisis. Buchanan leaves office, and northern population calls for action. Of course, it's March 4th of 61. Springtime, not wintertime. A lot easier for people to travel in those days. Virginia's loyalty to the Union questioned. Rumors of increasing support for secession. Further states threatening to leave the Union. Confederate support in Virginia soars. Virginia is the powerhouse of the South. And that is absolutely true. Most of the manufacturing for the southern states was concentrated in Virginia. Confederate States Army established. Organization pattern after the U.S. Army. Davis authorized to call up 100,000 men. Regular army of 16,000 men planned. State militia commanders by state governments. All right, so you have the ACSA and the CSSM. So the militia force, or the provisional army, PACS versus the ACA, gave different ranks, had different commanders, but the army, the ACSA, overranked the PACS, and yet only had 15,000 men, of which 744 were officers, or authorized. It never achieved that level of manpower. All right. So we're getting very close. We're now March 8th, so we have a little over a month before the secession of, or the firing on Fort Sumter. Let's take a look here. All right. What do we got? Still waiting. Hold up. Military Policy 1 enacted. The Confederacy strengthens its military. More money to the military. Navy proposes arming civilian ships. Preparations for blockade. All right, so this is our first policy completed. Military Act 1. We cannot move to Chapter 2 until the hostilities begin. With that, we will begin Diplomacy 1. I want to be able to get money into foreign weapons as quickly as possible. What if we completed here? So the Andersonville prison camp in the state of Georgia has been completed. All right, let's hold up. A speech delivered in Savannah. Stevens addresses the nation. Cornerstone address. The new government's foundations laid. Further secession predicted. Yeah, the Cornerstone speech, which laid out the reasons for the Confederacy being and existing, and quite clearly laid out that slavery was the cornerstone of the Confederacy. Now that Andersonville prison is built, we can begin to upgrade. As I was looking at that. All right, Industrialization 1, policy enacted for the Union. Pretty much the same thing, but not us. All right, so let me slow things down just a touch. We can parole prisoners, send home. It cannot be ruled that some of them will reenlist. Okay. Overcrowding would rebuff enemy states and increase their support in the war. So if we have too much overcrowding, the Union would gain support. Capacity currently 5,000. It'd be increased to 15,000 prisoners. 10,000 per year to 25,000 per year. So that's not a huge financial burden. It is, but it's not. But the upgrade would cost $8.4 million. You know what? Let's start at the 5,000. We'll go from there. This is going to be a short war. It'll be over by Christmas. Only a couple hundred people have to die, right? All right. We also have some flashing buttons, especially now that we're in April, where we can see the economic report. Our liabilities are $35 million. Our economy is in an expansion cycle. We have a mediocre wealth, but it is increasing. Our tax revenues increased by $123 million during the last month. Most of that's going to be tariffs. The export volume was $35 million, and $71 million worth of goods was imported. So there's $100 million worth of goods in trade. The average corporate production over the last three months was $143 million. So that's decreased by $15 million. And our economy lacks iron, which we did notice. I don't think there's, until we get Tennessee and North Carolina, there's no way to remedy that. Our intel reports, the U.S. is going for military 1. Their relations with Spain, randomly Spain, are 0. Their morale is 98%, with 0 change. Been no fighting, so I wouldn't expect to change. The enemy is consolidating and regrouping, which I think we are both in that process. 10 days. All right, supply situation at Fort Sumter critical. Lincoln planning a relief expedition. Sumter's 60 guns prepared for battle. Heavy artillery surrounding Fort Sumter. Major Anderson refuses to surrender. All right. So once again, all the focus goes to this little fort in Charleston Harbor. Beauregard's forces here. There's Port Royal. All right. Beauregard issues ultimatum. Major Anderson refuses to surrender. At 4:30 a.m., Fort Johnson opens fire. Fort Sumter bombarded. The garrison returning fire. So Fort Moultrie on the north, Fort Johnson on the south. Batteries would have lined the entire bay almost. And actually, Charleston Harbor has a peninsula, and yeah. This is not what it looks like. Yeah, you would have, Hardeeville and Secessionville right around this area. All right, Fort Sumter has surrendered. 3,000 Confederate rounds fired. No casualties from the bombardment. Actually, I think there were 2 horses wounded during the bombardment. And then, of course, afterwards, during the salute, there were two mortally wounded and 4 others injured. So the first casualties of the Civil War were accidental. President Lincoln to call militia. The Civil War has commenced. All right. So Fort Sumter should change color here momentarily, as should Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Arkansas. We'll wait for that to happen. I have turned off videos. And there we go. Everything just gets updated. So, Civil War. Further southern states secede. Confederate armies on the move. Europeans reluctant to take sides. New campaign objectives. Yeah, at this point, I just want the Europeans to sell us guns. That's all I care about. All right. We're going to slow way down here and take a look at our new situation. This actually hasn't. Okay, it's still changing. Computer is still figuring out what all these numbers should be. Yeah, I think we'll have to come back to this page. We'll get rid of that. Projects. So you can select all, and then I like to go to assignable only. These are the ones that we can actually get started. The first one we're going with is going to be the cast artillery. I need better guns. With that, we're going to go to the military tab, weapons, technology available. These are all the weapons that we can actually produce right now. So we just got the 14-pound James rifled gun. It's the only rifled cannon we can produce. Like I said, standardization goes up with the more you produce. I'm going to start with 16. That's going to get us a few batteries, which are 4 to 6 guns. That'll take just over 3 months, so we'll order those. The Napoleons, I'm going to do the same, and we'll try and get the standardization up a little bit before increasing those orders. The 24-pound howitzers, scroll over the little pocket watch, and those still have 50 days, so we're about halfway to getting our howitzers. All right. Let's take a gander at our fleets. So our frigates, about a quarter. Sloops of war, mid-30s. Barks are already at 60%. Brigs at 86, 85%. And then paddle steamer gunboats at about 70%. So the James River Squadron, it's pretty much going to stay the Jamestown and Patrick Henry. The New Orleans Squadron, I do want to take these sailing vessels out of. And actually, I want this to be a river-only squadron. So we are going to take out everything that's not. And we will add in the Arrow, Tuscarora, Ivy. Oh, not the Ivy. Where'd you come from? What am I doing? I just moved these away. The CSS Appomattox, the Bayou City, the Bienville, and the Bombshell to start with. Let's see. Can we... All right. Now it's showing us the stats. I would like to get... River Monitor would be awesome. Warrior class would be incredible. So this is... What can we build? These are all sea vessels. Actually, sailing ships, seagoing. All right, so all of these would have river available to them. Paddle steamer gunboat is kind of the only thing we got going for us right now. So I'll build another 4 of those. 2 guns each. They don't take that much to produce. Then North Carolina Squadron. This will be our coal-driven or steam-driven flotilla. This is the one that I will probably use the least, just because I don't want to waste the resources. So none of our sailing vessels go here. Finally, that leaves the Savannah Squadron, which I'm going to leave for right now until, well, no, I'm not. I do have ships available to put in. So this is going to be our main fighting, blockade-breaking squadron. Don't see any other hundreds. Let's go ahead and move you guys and go back to the North Carolina Squadron and find you all a home. All right. So that's how I like to organize my fleets. The North Carolina Squadron, 16 ships, 12 gun, which that'll change once everybody gets loaded in. Savannah Squadron is going to be the big boy. This will also change once everybody gets to their destination. It does take a little bit of time. This one, 5 days. All right, so that's our naval situation to start with. The armies. We are going to do a bunch of transferring. So all states, that is, no. Transfer. There we go. All right. First up is going to be to Virginia. We will start, well, Army of Shenandoah. You're going to get Hugh Mercer's battery. And then the Army of the Potomac will get the other 2. Stephen D. Lee, you are headed to the Army of the Potomac. All right, let's go ahead. Hampton Division. Magruder's Division, actually. I'm going to leave Randolph. Hood is getting replaced. This is a Virginia Cavalry Regiment. There we go. Captains. I believe I will find who I'm looking for. Fitzhugh Lee. And then Daniel Harvey Hill. Yes. So we will continue our transfer. D.H. Hill goes. Fitzhugh Lee goes. Hampton Division stays with the artillery piece and will recruit into that as a reserve force. Army of Northwest stays, recruit into that as a reserve force also. Main 2 armies are going to be Shenandoah and Potomac. All right, next up, Army of Tennessee. This one is getting reinforcements from the Florida State Militia, most notably that artillery and infantry. It's rare that I ever see us being able to take out the fort by Pensacola. I don't think it's worth trying. I would rather start building up my armies in Tennessee. With that being said, as we slowly march through April, I don't want to give the Union. Let's see if we can actually see. Yeah, they're still not showing men fielded. Let's advance one day. See if that changes. There we go. Okay, we got diplomacy 1. More Confederate diplomats to Europe. New trade deals proposed. Weapons imports discussed. And CSA to improve European relations. Which, realistically, it's we give you money, you give us guns. So we slow back down. There we go. So we have 14,000. They have 19,000 men in the field, mostly in Virginia, mostly around the 2 capitals. Finances, military is up to 12.5. Diplomacy will hit 12.5 very shortly. But policies, we are now able to take military 2 and then straight to conscription. I don't see a reason not to, and I want to see if it extends the volunteer contracts, as the tooltip says. Alright, we do have some movement. I think it's just repositioning of the Department of Pennsylvania, but I want to zoom in and keep an eye on them. I've been tricked before. See if they pop out at Washington. There they go. The Department of Pennsylvania is 9,000 strong. Army of the Potomac is 6,000. We'd be fine if they attacked, I think. Religious unrest in the U.S. continues. Factory workers feuding. Animosity between nationalities. Immigrants volunteering to take arms. Catholics willing to serve. Oh, the Catholics. Let's see here. Price is low on supply. My core is currently not supplied properly. This is sterling price. Supply ratio for my troops is approximately 25%. The available rifle ammunition is around 21%, artillery around 21%, provisions at 63%, forage at 61%. Let's take a look. Right now, the Department of the West is rapidly approaching. I mean, we could try and retreat, which is usually what I do. But I think they're going to end up in a siege. Let's retreat. Just go. I don't see a need to fight that battle. Or we can't even fight it. We just lose the siege. Yep, disaster. 2 men missing. Absolute disaster. But this time of the war, yeah, I could definitely see how that would... Oh, and they get to use the railroad to beat my retreating troops? That's just not fair. Okay, yeah, they're at least camping. Oh, what did we get? Ships constructed. So I think that is Clifton, Tuscaloosa, Beaufort, and Drury in port. Let's take a look at our military tab, fleets. Indeed. So we will go to the Savannah Squadron and move our brigs over. Next to complete will be the barks, then the sloops of war, then the frigates, and at some point, the CSS Virginia. So yeah, the brigs are now the heavy ships in this fleet at 12 guns each. The Missouri State Guard is retreating to Lebanon. It's actually the number 1 location for oak in the U.S., American oak. So the U.S. has selected Military Policy 1. strengthen its military with more money. Exact same headlines, just them and not us. So once the State Guard gets to Lebanon, we could just head to Springfield. I think they're going to go quickly to Springfield if we hold there. And in fact, they're still retreating. Fort Smith has a depot. That's the only real way that the Missouri State Guard is going to be able to supply themselves. It's just, yeah. To form right outside of St. Louis, if you can't take St. Louis, is a very poor idea. There's not much to fall back on. If they had started in Rolla, I think it would have been a much better scenario for them. All right. Let's go ahead and begin to actually build up our forces here. So Beauregard, famous, now gets command of the Army of the Potomac. Let's go ahead. So, by doing things the way I'm doing, we are not getting troops as quickly as we would have going down the militia tree. I still think I am 30 days away from being able to recruit an absolutely massive army. But with 12 months contracts, we're going to get some men in the field. So we've got some Georgians, some North Carolinians, some Texicans. Yep, we need the Louisianans. And actually, I'm going to... So you can change the uniforms at any point in time. These are going to be the Louisiana Tigers. So that's why I'm going ahead and changing them. I'll replace their commander with their original, Evans. The Texans, we did replace John Bell Hood. And he should be in here somewhere. Let's just make sure it... Hold up. I may have been a fool. No. Okay. Georgians. So we did create our own avatar. So that is who we are going, if I can find him, we're going to start with. Oh, I have the H selected. Yes, there I am. Oh, so now it's initiative. Okay, they must have fixed this. So we are right now we're cautious, mediocre administrator, backward, and foreseeable. Those will all increase. But we will be the commander of the Georgian Brigade. And to change the uniforms, we can recolor them and also change what they are. These are actually going to become the Highlanders Brigade. Just because I like really long, stupid names. The North Carolinians, so we'll select a North Carolina commander going with Loring. We have that. Texas. All. And actually Kentucky is where I'm looking specifically for John Bell Hood. Now, historically, this was not divided into divisions until after Manassas. That gives us 12,000. Beauregard originally would have had about 9 to 10,000 more than that in the field. We kind of have to wait as it is. We're going for military 2 and then 31 days to conscription. So we have 60.5 days to hold on and hopefully not lose the war. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Consider clicking on the next video also. This has been Nearly Offshore Gaming. Till next time.